Hey, family, welcome to Keep It Raw. My name is Ravel. So, what I want to dive into because often we think of relationships and everyone think of and want things to be perfect. And the reality is simply there's no perfect people, and people make up relationships. Therefore, there's no perfect relationships. And I know we all marvel and we love to see a couple that's been together for 50 years or 60 years, and we think it's just great. We just think it's wonderful. And so we just look forward to that. But the bottom line is this. We don't know the backstory. We don't know the challenges that they had to endure, the nights and weeks and things where they had to be challenged individually and collectively. We just don't know the whole story. So believe me, they had issues. Nobody have a pass on life. It's just what it is. And so understand that. Go into a relationship in the right way with the right frame of mind. Some people think once they get in a relationship, they thinking, yes, I have reached my destination. I have arrived. Well, I'm here to tell you today, you haven't arrived. In fact, you're just starting. In fact, you are just boarding. That's why it's called relationship. You relations and it's a ship. It can be a stormy ride. It can be you don't know what the sea is going to be like as you're getting ready to board. You don't know what type of weather you're going to run into, what storms you're going to encounter. So it's a relationship. That's a commitment. That's why commitment is very important. There have to be compatibility. There have to be commitment because there's going to be stormy days. There's going to be adverse weather and so forth. There's going to be challenges. That's just the way it works. So don't go in expecting things to be perfect, but go in expecting a commitment. Go in expecting there's going to be compatibility, that your personality complement that other person's personality. Because when tough times come and you talk about I like that person, because there's going to come times where you don't like that person and you're going to have love. And there's going to be times when your love is going to be challenged and you're going to have faith. And so if you just live and talking about some, I like that person, that's not going to work. If you living and you just talking about some, I love that person, that's just not going to work. You're going to have to use faith when you don't have nothing else to give. And some people think that they're at the end of their rope because they feel like I have nothing else to give. You are just boarding the ship. You are just getting started because it's not about what you think. A relationship involves a lot of different things. And we look at God and we see the relationship he had with man from the fall, before he fell, after he fell, and he still believed in the oneness with man. In spite of all the mess that I have done or we have done collectively, God still is committed to the relationship with man. Think about that. Think about that. So it's not a one-stop thing. It's not a one-issue thing. A relationship, there's going to be a lot of challenges. It's a continuation. And in that relationship, there's going to be growth required. And so you can't be the type that says, it's what it is. I'm who I am. I'm not going to change. Well, circumstances change. Seasons change, life change. You're going to have to change with the flow. That means you're going to have to dig deep and be willing to grow. I know that rhyme, but I wanted to put that out there. And so when issues come up, and issues will come up, and sometimes they come in early, but as long as you have that compatibility and you have that commitment, that's what you have to go back to. Despite what you're feeling, too many people put feelings into things, and feelings just become a bigger problem. Don't go by your feelings. Absolutely not. Relationships should not be built on feelings. It should be built on faith and that commitment that you all agreed on. That's how it's going to work because that's going to get you through the tough patches. So keep that in mind. But if you don't have the commitment and you don't have the compatibility, then and you just holding on to something that was never there anyway, then you're wasting your time. But again, if that commitment and that compatibility is there, your personalities blend, the love is there, all those things help. So keep that in mind. But when problems come and you at each other because you have a strong disagreement, remember a soft answer turns away wrath. That's what the word of God tells us. You can't have fire with fire, because if you mad, the guy mad, the lady mad, and y'all both upset at each other, going at each other, A soft answer turns away wrath. You can't fight fire with fire. An eye for an eye. Like I heard recently, they said if we do eye for an eye, then everybody walk around blind. So somebody gonna have to let civility reign, and you're gonna have to let the cool brains reign. You can't decide, okay, that person kicked my dog, I'm gonna kill a cat, and all of that. We can't do all of that. We're gonna have to begin. Somebody have to be the mature person and just let things simmer down. So keep that in mind. And so when issues come, you have to keep a communication relationship going. Because what happened is often people communicate to get into the relationship, but then once the relationship starts, people stop communicating. That's not going to work. You have to continue to communicate. You have to continue to create an environment of growth. And to do that, there has to be an environment of accountability. Some people don't want to be accountable. And so you go so long without accountability, when somebody begin to hold you accountable, it's like a personal attack. If a man says something to the woman, she feel like it's a personal attack. And sometimes she say, you don't like nothing I do. He just made one comment about one thing that you do that he didn't agree with. And now that's encompasses everything. And so as a man, you have to understand to be patient and to be alert to that. And when you disagree with something, make sure it's clear that this is that particular thing. Because if you don't and you begin to critique her, a lot of times, it's not everybody, but a lot of times she's going to feel like, if you don't like my hat, you don't like my hair, you didn't like the decision I make, you must don't like nothing about me at all. And that's the way it goes. And so you have to be a communicator to understand, I don't agree with this, and this is why. Because if you don't do that and you don't have love, she don't feel that you love her, she don't feel that you're coming with patience, she's going to feel attacked. And then the problems just grow and they grow and they grow, and it's begin to be cancerous in a relationship. So she have to be accountable as well as the man have to be accountable. Sometimes women say things to men and it comes across disrespectful, and sometimes he would deal with it better than some deal with it better than others. But if you continue to do that, what happened is he's not used to it. He started thinking that, okay, she don't respect me on nothing then. And so it's best to always, if you're going to correct a person, start with a positive. That you like this, you like that, but this is something I have an issue with. And make sure you explain the why. Don't just deal with the what, deal with the why. This is why I disagree. And then at the end of discussing that, it shouldn't be a fuss and match or yelling at each other, but you discussing what you agree with and don't agree with. And you have to both be mature enough to accept that person don't have to agree with you and still, they can love you and still not agree with you. Some people think if you don't agree with me, you obviously don't love me. If you don't agree with me, you obviously don't respect me. And so you're going to have to be mature. You're going to have to grow and look in yourself and say, hey, it's okay if that person disagree with me, even if it's on strong issues sometimes. They can agree or agree to disagree. And that's for either person. Because the moment you start looking at each other as individuals and not as a team, and that we're working together, the common goal is for us to win as one, you're going to have a problem. And that's going to begin to, again, be like cancerous and grow to destroy your relationship. And so you're going to have to get the remedy and begin to come back with accountability, responsibility. And it's okay to call a person on their stuff, because if nobody calling anybody out on anything and there's no personal investment and there's no commitment to growth, then you just got two people coexisting that's drifting and hoping somebody come and save them. And often that's the wrong person that come along, because that's where the affairs come. This is where the problems come, because two people begin to grow apart because they're not holding each other accountable. And if you're in a relationship like that, you have to get back together and say, hey, let's reevaluate things and let's begin to work together. And then take ownership of your behavior first before you start pointing out the other person's behavior issues that you have concern with. And so normally in relationships, people have different maturity levels. And so you're going to have to weigh that and see how that go. and learn how to speak to that person, because you can't speak to everybody the same way. Some people personality, you can talk to them direct and they can handle it. Some people you have to kind of feed them like you feed a baby. You know, you put the little baby food at the tip of that spoon, and then you just give them a little dose at a time. And then some babies want to chew on a bone. Some of them want a piece of that chicken. So you're going to have to decide according to their personality and what you know. But you can't just use one way to communicate with people. Some people learn differently. Some people receive correction differently. And correction don't feel good to nobody normally. But again, the Bible say correct a wise man, you gain a friend. You correct the fool, you gain the enemy. And so some people, you correct them and they be your enemy forever. But if they're wise, you accept criticism, constructive criticism, and you become wiser, you become better. So a wise man, you correct a wise man, he become wiser. He don't take that as an insult. He don't take that as you subtracted from him. He accept that as you helped them. They got better understanding now. They process that, they move on, and they become wiser. A fool, you can't correct a fool. You cannot correct a fool. And if you're in a relation with somebody that's just foolish, they can't accept no accountability for nothing. And you have men like that and women. And so you have to learn to apologize when you do something wrong, because sometime, and let me know if you think I'm wrong on this,